Have you ever felt like someone was trying to control you? Or maybe you've experienced moments when you've said yes to something, only to realize later that it wasn't your decision at all. Manipulation is everywhere, and it can happen in ways we don't even notice. But what if you could spot it, protect yourself, and stay in control? Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, holds the key to understanding how to avoid being manipulated. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If we can control our thoughts, we can better control our reactions, and ultimately, our lives." The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from within, by mastering our emotions and focusing on what's in our control. When you learn to control your reactions and focus on your values, manipulation becomes powerless. Think about this. Have you ever found yourself making decisions based on what others expect from you, not what you actually want? Or maybe you felt guilty or pressured into saying yes, even when it didn't feel right. The Stoics teach us that we should never allow external influences to shake our inner peace. As Epictetus wisely put it, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In today's video, we'll dive into 10 powerful Stoic lessons that will help you avoid manipulation. By applying these principles, you'll be able to protect your mind, stay true to yourself, and make decisions based on your own values, not someone else's agenda. So, if you want to learn how to think more clearly, act more wisely, and never be manipulated again, stick with me until the end. Let's get started. Lesson 1. Control your reactions. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics gave us is the idea that we can control how we react to any situation. In life, we can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. A manipulative person might try to provoke you into an emotional reaction. They might raise their voice or use guilt to push you into doing something you don't want to do. But the Stoics remind us that it's not the situation itself that causes us distress. It's how we choose to react. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you focus on mastering your reactions, you take away the power someone else might have over you. Imagine someone trying to upset you. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you could take a deep breath, pause, and choose a calm response. This moment of control is where true power lies. Next time you feel manipulated or pressured, remember that your reaction is yours alone to decide. Focus on staying calm and grounded. Remind yourself, this is something I can control. How I respond is up to me. This simple shift in perspective will help you protect your peace and stop manipulation in its tracks. Lesson 2. Separate what you can and can't control. A core principle of Stoicism is recognizing the difference between what is in your control and what isn't. Manipulators often try to make us feel responsible for things that are beyond our control. Whether it's another person's behavior, their mood, or their choices, we can't control these things. What we can control is our own actions and mindset. Epictetus put it perfectly when he said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." If someone is trying to manipulate you, they might make you feel responsible for their problems or emotions. But by recognizing that you are not responsible for their actions, you free yourself from unnecessary guilt and stress. Ask yourself, in any situation, is this in my control? If the answer is no, let it go. Don't allow others to impose their control over you by making you feel responsible for things outside your reach. This mindset not only protects you from manipulation, but also brings a sense of freedom. When you focus only on what you can control, you empower yourself to make better decisions and respond more wisely. Lesson 3. Know your values. When we don't have a clear understanding of our own values, it's easy to be manipulated. Manipulators often exploit uncertainty, pushing you to make decisions that don't align with your beliefs. The Stoics, however, taught the importance of knowing what you stand for. By identifying your values, you can filter out what others want from you and stay true to yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." When you know your values, you don't have to get caught up in someone else's agenda. For example, if honesty is one of your core values, a manipulative person who pressures you to lie will have no hold over you. You'll recognize their tactics and make a decision that reflects your true self. Take time to think about your principles. What matters most to you? Is it kindness, integrity, freedom? When you know what you stand for, you can make decisions with confidence, free from manipulation. Whenever someone tries to push you in a direction that feels wrong, remind yourself of your values. By staying aligned with what matters most, you can avoid being swayed by others. Lesson 4. Recognize flattery and praise. Manipulators often use flattery and excessive praise as tools to control others. They may try to flatter you into making decisions that benefit them, or to lower your guard so they can manipulate you more easily. The Stoics warned against being swayed by the opinions of others, whether positive or negative. As Epictetus said, if someone is able to make you angry, then they have control over you. This applies not just to anger, but to praise and compliments as well. If someone constantly flatters you, asking for favors, or subtly trying to change your mind, take a step back and ask yourself, why? Are they truly admiring you, or are they trying to get something from you? The key here is to not let praise cloud your judgment. Flattery may feel good in the moment, but it's important to ask yourself whether their compliments are genuine or a means to manipulate you. If you can detach from the need for validation and external approval, you'll become immune to their tactics. Focus on your own self-worth rather than relying on others' praise. Lesson 5. The power of silence. One of the most overlooked ways to avoid manipulation is through silence. Manipulators often use words to influence and control you. They'll speak in ways that evoke emotions, make you feel guilty, or try to push you into decisions. The Stoics, however, taught the power of silence and restraint. By saying less and thinking more, you take away the power others have over you. As Seneca wisely said, silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings. When you stay silent, you give yourself space to think and observe without reacting impulsively. Instead of immediately agreeing or disagreeing, you can pause, process the situation, and respond thoughtfully. Silence also forces others to fill the space with their own words, often revealing their true intentions. Next time you feel pressured or manipulated by someone's words, try staying silent. Observe the situation without reacting. You'll often find that your silence brings more clarity and control, and it keeps you one step ahead of those trying to manipulate you. This simple Stoic technique can protect you from being swayed by others' influence. Lesson 6. Focus on the present. One of the most common ways manipulators gain control over us is by making us worry about the future or dwell on the past. They may use fear tactics, telling us that if we don't act now, we'll regret it later. The Stoics teach us to focus on the present moment, because that is where our power lies. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Instead of worrying about what might happen in the future or obsessing over what happened in the past, the Stoics encourage us to focus on what we can do right now. Manipulators often try to create a sense of urgency or fear, but if we remain focused on the present, we can make calm, rational decisions based on what is actually in front of us. When you're faced with pressure or manipulation, ask yourself, what can I do right now to handle this situation? Instead of being swept up in what could go wrong, focus on the actions you can take today. This gives you a sense of control and keeps you from being led astray by fear or anxiety. By training yourself to stay present, you not only avoid manipulation, but also strengthen your ability to respond wisely to life's challenges. The Stoics understood that focusing on the present is the path to freedom. Freedom from regret, anxiety, and manipulation. Lesson 7. Practice self-awareness. One of the best defenses against manipulation is being aware of your own emotions and weaknesses. Manipulators often target our insecurities or emotions to gain control. If we don't recognize these vulnerabilities, we are more likely to fall into their traps. The Stoics understood that self-awareness is key to maintaining control over our lives. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." If you know your strengths and weaknesses, you can avoid falling victim to someone else's influence. For example, if you know that you have a tendency to feel guilty when others are upset, a manipulator might use this against you. But if you're aware of this tendency, you can pause and make a conscious decision to not give in to that guilt. Take time each day to reflect on your emotions and reactions. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What does this reaction tell me about my values? Self-awareness isn't just about knowing your weaknesses, it's also about knowing your strengths. When you recognize what truly matters to you, you'll have a stronger foundation for making decisions that are true to yourself, rather than giving in to manipulation. By practicing self-awareness, you build a shield against manipulation and gain a deeper understanding of who you are. This knowledge gives you the power to make choices based on your own principles, not someone else's agenda. Lesson 8. Don't fear disagreement. Manipulators often use our fear of disagreement to control us. They may pressure us to conform to their views, telling us that if we disagree, we will lose approval, respect, or love. The Stoics, however, believed that it is far more important to stay true to yourself than to fear what others think of you. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Be yourself. The world has already got enough of the other." Stoicism teaches us that we should not fear disagreement because standing firm in our beliefs is a sign of strength, not weakness. Manipulators rely on our fear of conflict to get us to do what they want. But when we embrace disagreement, we take away their power. Next time someone tries to manipulate you by making you feel bad for disagreeing, remember that you don't have to sacrifice your values for the sake of approval. Embrace your right to think for yourself. Disagreement doesn't have to lead to conflict. It can simply be a way to honor your own beliefs while respecting others' perspectives. By overcoming the fear of disagreement, you'll develop a deeper sense of confidence and independence. The Stoics believed that living according to your values, no matter the external pressure, is the key to a peaceful and fulfilled life. Lesson 9. Look for hidden agendas. Manipulators often hide their true intentions behind a facade of kindness or generosity. They may offer something that appears good on the surface, but their true goal is to get something in return. The Stoics were excellent at looking beyond appearances and focusing on the underlying truth of a situation. Seneca advised, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Manipulators play on our fears and desires, which makes it easy to overlook their hidden agendas. But when we learn to look beyond surface-level gestures, we can see the truth more clearly. Whenever someone offers you something that seems too good to be true, take a moment to assess their motives. Ask yourself, what are they really asking for? What do they stand to gain from this? Stoic wisdom encourages us to question things that don't feel right and to trust our instincts when something seems off. By learning to recognize hidden agendas, you protect yourself from manipulation and make decisions that align with your true values, not someone else's hidden goals. Lesson 10. Cultivate emotional independence. Manipulators often try to control us by appealing to our emotions. They may use our fears, desires, or need for validation to influence our decisions. The Stoics, however, teach that we should seek emotional independence, finding our peace and happiness within ourselves, not in the approval or actions of others. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." When we depend on others for our emotional well-being, we make ourselves vulnerable to manipulation. But when we cultivate inner peace and emotional resilience, we can't be swayed by external influences. To practice emotional independence, focus on building your own self-worth. Reflect on what truly makes you happy and fulfilled, independent of what others think. This will make you less susceptible to manipulation because you no longer rely on external validation to feel good about yourself. By cultivating emotional independence, you strengthen your sense of self and free yourself from the grip of manipulation. The Stoics believed that the ultimate freedom comes from mastering your own mind and emotions. And when you do this, no one can control you. As we wrap up these Stoic lessons, it's important to remember that manipulation can only take hold if we allow it. The Stoics teach us to be aware of what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, and to focus on living a life of integrity and self-awareness. By embracing these lessons, we can stop manipulation in its tracks and protect our peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If we master our thoughts and stay grounded in our values, no external force can shake us. Manipulation relies on exploiting our insecurities, our fears, and our emotions, but the Stoics show us that when we understand ourselves and stay true to our principles, we become impervious to such tactics. Remember, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, as Epictetus wisely put it. This means that the less we need validation or approval from others, the less power manipulators have over us. When we cultivate emotional independence, focus on the present, and stand firm in our beliefs, we are free from the control of others. The Stoic path isn't about being perfect. It's about becoming stronger, more aware, and more resilient with each step. By practicing these lessons, you're not just avoiding manipulation. You're building a life that is truly your own. So, the next time you feel pressure from someone trying to control you, remember these Stoic teachings. Take a moment to pause, reflect, and choose the response that aligns with your values. You have the power within you to remain free from manipulation. As Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." So, take charge of your thoughts, actions, and life, and never let anyone manipulate you again. If you found these Stoic tips helpful, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe for more content like this. Your support means a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.